Good. So now we have like this base template is creating this element and then passing that to the navigation bar. So the next thing we can do is, as I was saying, it's like put that user into a way that it could be accessed for all of the different components. So React has a method for doing that, which if you see here, because in the reference, if you see the different hooks, it's called use context. The whole idea of use context is that it allows you to create like a variable that is kind of like a global variable that you can access. All the components that are within that context will be able to access that kind of more easily. That is the code that I refuse to copy and paste from the tutorial. So Cloud didn't do a good job in there separating those things, which is this context. So let's try to create it like slowly, like one step at a time. So I kind of like, it's interesting that they even have this register. Let me analyze these for a second to see how much of that I want to separate. So this is doing, do not do double click, John. Yeah, it seems like it is creating a bunch of methods that you can use for that, and then it creates actually a context and within, okay, and it creates a login, and then it creates a context which is going to be null, and then it provides this out provider, which is kind of nice. And then let me see how it uses that. It is not here, I guess. Use navigate, look at that. Where is it using the use navigate here? And then navigate. That is nice. So, okay, so this is for redirection, but we are doing that from the backend, so we don't need that. And then, let me see. So we do have the context. And then let me see who is using the out provider. So it is going to be directly here. And then out context. Good. And it's going to be putting that inside what? Oh, directly in here. Oh, this is so interesting. So it actually creates a component that is the one. It's kind of similar to what I'm doing in the base template. And then it's using. I keep on double clicking. Out provider is the one that is being rendered in the. Yes, so it is being served from there. So I guess this out provider could make the case for my thing. So, okay. So let me try to see how I can rebuild this in that. So I guess I can start just by using creating the default context. And let's maybe create it in here, although probably later will be better if we do it in a different place. Use context. Yeah. And then I'm going to create like the user context. So I like that one. And then I also want to get the create context, and then probably I want to create a context like that. Okay, and then the whole idea is that here in my container, I want to wrap all of that into my out context. Okay, so I want to wrap all of that into my user context provider and then pass to that the value of the user variable that we have. So by doing that, everything that is inside that, including the navigation bar and the children, will be able to access that without me having to pass that in there. So I'm actually going to remove that from there. And then once I do that, so I have the create context, and then where is it using the use context here? Yes. Okay, perfect. So basically what I can do in here, I can come and let's say that I created like a new folder and I'm going to call it context, and then out context. So in this one, I guess I can do that one and then move that here, and then I'm going to call it out or user context GSX, and then basically I create that one, and then I need my use context and my create context. So I'm going to import this one and then also use context here, and then I'm going to export user context, and I'm going to export the use user from here. That's exactly what I need in there. And then in the base template, I import user context from that. So that way I can use it in here as a provider. And everywhere I want to use that, say for instance here in the navigation bar, I import the other one. I import the use user from the context, and then instead of receiving the user in here, I can just do this one, if I'm not mistaken. This one is way more fancy. If there is no context, must be within out provider. Oh, it's a nice example in there. So let's go and do this one. Yeah, I kind of like this code though. So let me come in here in the context and then say this is going to be this function, and then I'm going to say context is going to be do that. Yes, perfect. Copilot knew what I wanted in there. So I like this validation. So I can show that error, and then let's see if that works actually. Then we come in here, and then for the moment, seems like it is working. John@example.com, then secret, and then it works. So actually I'm using that in there. If you want to see another place where I could be using that, like for instance, remember, for this component, if I only want to show that one, because it's in here, and this one. So what I can do is that I can say, this is getting big, but if I say import use user from the context of use user, so now I want to use the context in here, then my user, I just get it from here like that. User is that one, and then in here, if I have an user, then I do that, and if I don't have a user, I say please log in. And I can actually put this as an href/login, and then close that, and perfect. So now if I am in here and I log out, I cannot see the listing, and if I go and I log in, john@example.com, and then secret, then of course data and hash arguments required. Did I make a mistake in there? So let's make sure this one is in here. Let me start that, and then I might have an error in there, but bear with me for the moment. There we go. So now it works, and if I come back, then it doesn't work anymore. Oh, I wonder if it is because I jumped from here. Anyhow, so then you get it. I am also seeing like an error in here. Oh no, it was for the previous one. So the whole idea with the context is that, like, just to recap, you can create a context as you see here, and then you create two things, like the provider for the context, which is the one that we are loading here in the base template, okay? And that provider, you see it in here, and then you establish in there what is the value that you want to pass to everything that it's inside. So my base template is rendering everything inside here, and so I can do it in there. And then I have the use user, which is a new hook that I just created. And this use user, I can use it in anything, any component that it's inside. For instance, the login page. No, not the login page, the index page. I import that use user, and then I do that, and that lets me access that specific variable that I created in there, for saying if it's showing in there or in the navigation bar, which is the other one when I'm using it, use user, and then I create that one, and then I use it in there. Okay, so I hope that's useful. I think I have most of the parts from the authentication. Please go from there. Like, the next step will be to modify the backend, so you're actually storing things in the database, but that shouldn't be that hard. So we'll leave that for you all, but please let me know if you have any questions. Okay, thank you very much.